Hey guys, iDeviceHelp here, and today Apple released iOS 11 Beta 2 to register developers. No public beta testing as of yet. Funny because earlier today I posted a video predicting that iOS 11 Beta 2 would be released on the 26th because it's not usual for Apple to release on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. But nonetheless, it's happened before and it's happened today. So welcome edition here, iOS 11 Beta 2, which is running on this device on the right, which is the gold iPhone 7 Plus. It's a fresh download. It was 2 gigs. From an update, it's going to be around 600 megabytes, and there's quite a few differences. So in this video, I'm going to show you those. So let's begin. So as I mentioned, iOS 11 Beta 2 is on the right for the gold color iPhone, a Beta 1 on the red. Let me go ahead and show you the latest build number for the version of iOS 11, 15A5304i, and that is the current build number for the OS. Let me go ahead and start with Control Center. Right here, the flashlight, when you activate it, you see here it turns yellow. Over here it turns black. Just a minor UI change. The same thing applies to the low power mode. Used to turn yellow, now it just stays black, and then it goes back to the white. Now, one thing I did want to point out about the low power mode is that it gave me a prompt the first time I activated it, and it tells me, what's going to be slowed down in order to preserve that battery, so you can better understand low power mode here on iOS 11 Beta 2. Now, one new feature that's been enabled is the Do Not Disturb while driving. I couldn't enable that on Beta 1. On Beta 2, I can enable it right there from Control Center, and I'll get to the settings because there's new settings for it as well, but a very useful option. I like it a lot, and we'll go over the settings in a few minutes. Right here, you can no longer set stopwatch, timers, things like that, create alarms. I don't know why Apple disabled that here on the Control Center on the second beta. Now let's go ahead and jump into settings and show you some key differences right here in the Control Center. You see right away a different panel in iOS 11 Beta 2. Right here you have while in application access within applications. So the Control Center, if this is toggled off, will not be activated or will not be able to be invoked if you have this toggle off. If you have it on, then yes, it will work within applications, an option that wasn't there previously. Then you can tap in here and then customize it as we used to do with Beta 1. So a nice addition to add that option, because when you're playing games, sometimes you can activate it. So turning this off will not allow Control Center to be activated while you're doing other things that may require you to swipe from the bottom. Now here in notifications, I wanted to show you something that was also available in Beta 1 that I didn't get a chance to cover. It is the renaming here of the notification banners, and the one that's missing in the center from iOS 10 is no longer there. So you have the temporary and then the persistent. Again, this is in Beta 1. It's also in Beta 2, but I didn't get a chance to cover that for you guys. Now let's go ahead and head on over to that Do Not Disturb option I was talking about. All the first top settings here are usual, as you might expect for the normal Do Not Disturb, but if we scroll all the way down, you see new options here. For activating Do Not Disturb while driving, I'll be using this a lot. Automatically means that the phone will recognize motion, the speed, and then it will activate it automatically. So when you're driving, it's going to automatically activate it. When connected to the car's Bluetooth, I also use Bluetooth in my vehicles, so this is probably the best option. So when it's connected to Bluetooth, it's going to automatically recognize that you are driving or you're in your car, and it's just going to reply with messages that you can preset, and I'll show you that in a few seconds. And then you have the manually, of course, being that you enable it yourself. And down here you have the auto reply to. So favorites, you can set favorites, recent, no one, and all contacts. So if you ticked all contacts, it will auto reply whatever you type here. So that's an awesome option to have. I'm going to be using this feature a lot. I'm just going to go with the connect to Bluetooth because I connect to Bluetooth when I'm driving, so that people know that I'm driving without me having to reply. So awesome option there. Do Not Disturb while driving is now enabled. I know a few of you guys will ask about the wallpapers. There isn't any new wallpapers in the latest beta. Just to confirm that, I just wanted to make sure you guys, because I know you guys always want to know, and wallpapers are awesome to get every now and then, but nothing new here in the second beta. Now, something very interesting here in the Touch ID and passcode. By default, when I updated to beta 2, the today view was disabled by default. I don't know if that was a glitch or what, but it was disabled, not allowing me to see my widgets on the lock screen. So that option was disabled. Just wanted to point that out. Let me know in the comments if yours was as well. Of course, battery is one of those things that you guys have been complaining, including myself, even though it is a beta, but it is terrible. It's very, very bad, and I can't really test that yet. I have to have it for at least 48 to 72 hours. I'll do an update video and let you guys know how battery has been impacted with the second beta. It's just impossible for me to tell you if it's any better within a few hours of playing around with it. Now, Apple did rename a few things here under the location services, and I thought the naming of the particular section here was kind of weird how they did it. So frequent location is a service that of course tracks your frequent locations where you go. I usually turn that off. I don't feel comfortable having that, even though the information Apple says is encrypted and no one sees it. I just feel more comfortable not having that feature enabled. Well, right here, significant location. That's what they name it now. So it doesn't really say what it does. I mean, yeah, significant locations, yes, places of interest, you can call it all that, but frequent location is a better tag for this section, even though it does explain down here exactly what it does. I just feel like the naming was kind of weird and not straightforward. Hopefully they change that again. Improved maps options has gone from the improved product section there. Now, another feature from iOS 11 beta 1 that I didn't get a chance to cover is the ability to swipe up here on the camera to get all the filters instead of having to tap the filters themselves. And it also works with the portrait mode option. Here you see if I swipe up, I can go ahead and look for all the new filters, which is, ooh, look at that, it's kind of glitchy. So you can see there that the phone is going crazy, but it is a new option available in beta 1, which is, I guess, better now in beta 2. As you can see, it's not glitching as it looks like here in beta 1. Nonetheless, it is a new option for portrait mode and for photos. Another thing I found kind of interesting is the HomeKit application, or the home application, was removed from my device in beta 2. I don't know why that was, but hey, I don't really use it much. I used to use it, but not anymore. The battery widget, a lot of you guys were asking about this a few days ago in one of my videos. The battery widget is usually enabled when you connect an Apple Watch or any other Bluetooth device. But right now in beta 2, Apple has it available just for the iPhone. So you don't have to connect any Bluetooth device for the widget to appear here in your settings. It is now available there by default. So that's a welcome addition. I know a lot of you guys are going to like that. I don't know if you noticed, there's a few glitches here on the screen. Like the calendar isn't really showing the date as it is in beta 1, so I don't know what's going on with that. But now let's go into the generals tab here, which there's a few things going on here. Let me go ahead and start by going to the accessibilities tab. There's a few things that got renamed, like right here, the hearing aids, MFI hearing aid instead of just hearing aid there. If we scroll all the way to the bottom here under the accessibility shortcuts, which you can use to triple click the home button to activate, you can now rearrange these, you see. Before you couldn't do that, so welcome addition there. Now, I don't know if you've noticed when I tap into something, you see here how it says accessibilities, it just says back. Now, when I go back, then it says general. But when I tap into something and I go to head back, in particular sections of the OS, it just says back instead of just saying, you know, whatever section I'm going to. Like right here, you see accessibilities, back. So just something minor, but it is a small difference in iOS 11 beta 2. If we go into the keyboard section here, you'll find a new option here for disabling the one-hand keyboard use, or disabling or enabling it by default. So if you use the keyboard and you tap and hold on the emoji icon, you can set it to the left or set it to the right. With this new option, you can have it set to a particular location at all times, or just completely disable that option altogether. Now, a very minor change for the UI here on the keyboard, if I tap here on the microphone, you'll see the language and then it goes into dictation. So do that, the language, and then it goes into that. So over here, it doesn't do that, it just goes straight to the microphone. And it's been a little refined if you ask me as well. Like, it looks like the keyboard's more refined and the microphone is more refined, and it's just doing and typing everything I'm saying. So just a minor UI change there. Now, a very interesting choice for Apple here is that you no longer have the edit button in your photos when you go into the view. Right here on the top, we have a details and then edit up here. So now it is up there instead of in the bottom. So right here we used to have details, and now we no longer have it. Now, when I first opened the photos, I got this explanation here, and I think that's the reason why, because now Apple explains if you swipe up, you get the details, so no longer needing the details up there. And when you go to edit a photo, then you no longer need that button down there. You just go ahead and edit the photo by simply tapping on the photo and clicking edit at the top, saving I guess one step here. Interesting choice there for Apple, and I think I like it. If you're playing audio in the background right here on your iPhone in beta 2, take a look here at the platter. See the how big the circle is and compared to beta 1, so easier to just kind of control right there all the stuff. I don't know why Siri is activating, but just easier to control your media with larger circles there for the sliders. A very small UI change here on 3D touching. On the notes, you see right here sketch. It's now a new sketch with the little circle in the pen instead of the little scribble. Now, on some of Apple's stock applications like the TV app, I've noticed a change. You see right here the watch now, how it's not filled in with the darker colors. It is completely white, and over here is filled in. I see that throughout some of the applications. They're default within iOS, the entire operating system. So I did run some tests here on the performance. Again, beta 2 on the right, beta 1 on the left. You can see here that the performance is starting to come back, 3487 to a 3508 on a single core score. The multi-core score 5914 to 5983. So we see the performance is starting to come back for iOS 11, and honestly I haven't had iOS 11 beta 2 long enough to tell you if there's any difference yet, but it looks like the performance is coming up there in terms of numbers. And now, as I mentioned, the battery and all that, I'll do a follow-up video if it has improved, or follow me on Twitter for more information on that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video on some of the new changes in iOS 11 beta 2. It's been a device help, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.